Oh, you got to play Empty Glass.
It's done.
That's a great song. Gary Stewart did it. Empty Glass. Last cigarette.
Coming up on the Wade and Carter Show, we will talk with Bill Posey to discuss a little bit what happened at the local Republican Party meeting yesterday. Joe Geisman, City Council candidate, joins us. Retail workers are quitting in droves, and the ever popular and much anticipated hockey half minute coming up on today's Wade and Carter Show. There it is.
It's the weather.
Must be.
What's the weather? me. 76 to 90.
Chance of rain. Hey, good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you today?
Very good, thank you.
Good. I'm glad. I'm so glad you're very good today. Good morning, all to the
You
YouTubers.
don't care.
All 1,004 of you. Yeah, I
You
care.
don't
Why would I not care? Why
You
would I
don't
not care?
You don't care.
I like your shirt. It's almost like a Love You
It
Blues.
says Texas, that's why.
I understand that.
Yeah.
It's always the answer. Anybody asks a question, you just go Texas.
I do that a
All
lot.
that matters.
It is one thing about our politics in this state. It's like, why do y'all do this? We're Texas. We can do that. I mean, does anybody really care like Delaware? I mean, I'm not trying to say Delaware. Is that where Joe Biden's from? I'm not trying to pick on that.
Yeah.
But Vermont.
The state that has more
That's where-
restrictive voting laws than any other state in the country, yet nobody points a finger at Joe to try to fix them there.
Even Illinois. Like Illinois is a good example. And we have listeners in Illinois. Nobody cares what you do. They don't. I mean,
they know you're corrupt as hell.
Chicago. Well, that's a toilet. You know? You would think they would run out of black people the rate they're killing each other up there. But they don't. And nobody cares. That's what's so sad. The government really doesn't care. It's like,
No, they don't care.
the brothers are still killing each other, and nobody cares. Texas, we matter. Texas, that's why. Good morning, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Our buddy out on the island out there, and where's he at?
Pete Montana out
Pete,
in
Montana.
Vancouver Island.
Pete, Montana. It's Cuban.
Folks in Milan, Italy.
Yes. Sydney,
Germany.
Australia.
Sydney, Australia.
True story.
Let's do
Big in
this.
Cabo San Lucas.
Huge in Puerto Vallarta. Probably big in Louisiana because I'm sure Jeremy Pena's on the road. Let's do this.
Somewhere in the swamp. Folks, the great people at AT Deerland Feed, a Victoria tradition for over 50 years, bring you the weather every morning here to remind you that for everything you need, there's Deerland Feed. Whether you got a farm, a ranch, or like me, you just need some bifin. You just need something to go around and kill all the mosquitoes. I still don't have them.
No?
And well, all the grass died too, but the mosquitoes are gone. It's just a beautiful little sandbox.
That's all that matters.
Yeah.
You got rid of them.
I mixed it with some honcho, and then I had a guy fly over the neighborhood with it. All the plants
In a
died.
yellow plane?
Yeah, a little yellow plane. All the plants died, but we're just a happy bunch outside. And
you can congregate in the evening without being carried away by mosquitoes.
some of the new kids have an extra eye, but it's okay.
It's all right.
It works. 76 degrees in Victoria under kind of thunderstorm skies. We do see some flashes of lightning here from our high perch in the Tower of Power, Laurent Tower, Bill Windlet's beautiful facility right here on Laurent Boulevard.
Scott Tomko's in this morning. Matt Boucher, good
All over
morning.
Victoria.
Scott Snow. Let's see who else is in.
The Metroplex. We can see all the way to, we're practically
You can see almost the Bloomington.
Bloomington. If they had a building over 2 stories tall, you could see it.
Judge Posey, good morning to you.
There's a
Bobcat
light.
Watley's in. David Glass.
There's a light on the horizon way out there. Could that be Bloomington? Do you see that
I
light?
do see that.
That could be the Bloom.
It might be.
76 to 90. Going to be humid again today.
David Glass, Diane Tippett, Robin Moore Knipling, Lisa Poole, Patrick Strauss, Chris Conrad, good morning.
By the way, I just got
Adam
a
Sugar.
request. You can go into, hey, Justin Glass, you can go to Burlebo, Burlebo, burlebo.com. It's a small Texas company. Dawn Tlat buys me this gear, and I love her for a bunch of reasons, but that's one of them. Why
Jason
don't you
Brandon
go over?
checking in, Jeff Finley. I'm trying to get through Scott
No, we can do
Tomko.
that later. This is important.
Yeah, this is
Look,
important.
Look,
Bill Posey
you know,
said in here, we're interrupting his
well,
Ramsey's
you know,
breakfast.
not
this
just
morning.
that. You know, Posey's got that prostate. You know, I mean, come on, man. He's probably got to pee. But when you wear gear like
He
Posey,
has no prostate. All the napalm burned it out.
he cleans up every day and looks like $1 million. Go over there, put the camera on him, and let's
All right.
get a little action going here. So I preface all this by telling you we're always bragging about news straight from the source. We've got Joe Geisler coming in. He's going to tell you why he wants to, be involved with the city council. We're always flattered. We love to follow Bill Posey. He and Lee De La Garza do a fantastic job in the mornings. With honestly, it's mostly Lee and then Dragon Bill. Lee and Dragon Bill.
Lee feels my pain every day.
Lee asks the softball questions, and then he's like, "Well, Bill, and then Bill goes, "Right you are, Lee. Right you are, my friend." It's like, "Cato, you little yellow maggot, where are you?" Remember Cato? That's so fun. And Cato would come through the walls, and Peter Sellers always won somehow. So we're joined by one of my personal heroes, a retired United States Navy gentleman and SEAL, the great one, Bill Posey. No other way to do it. Somebody we're proud to be associated with. And Bill, I'm
not sure it's always reciprocated.
I don't feel like we have to dramatize. In other times I would say, I heard you almost had to break up a fracas. None of that stuff. But I know that if there was a GOP meeting last night, I know you were there. And I did, true story, got a text from someone that said, "Hey, man, there were some fireworks at that GOP meeting last night. You need to follow up." So since Bill Posey was there and since his credibility is unquestionable, we go straight to the source. Bill, we haven't rehearsed this. I told you I was going to ask you something difficult on the air. Tell us with all your diplomacy about how nobody was wrong and everybody left friends and we all had a drink of Kool-Aid afterwards. Tell us what happened at the GOP last night.
Well, actually, we had the SWAT team come in and break up the huge fight. No, that's not true. We had Dr. Shepard came in and he spoke for 4 minutes. What speaker is confident to get his line of thought over in 4 minutes and took questions for 45 minutes?
Joe Geisler, you taking notes? You get 4 minutes. Okay.
I didn't, but it was really good. And Dr. Shepard really did a great job. And most of the people in the room are very leery of VISD for whatever reason. And it worked out really good. The most poignant question was asked by Judge Marr, and he went on and on and on about what the sins of VISD has done in the past.
So he had some details.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. Just like a judge, isn't it?
No, Judge Marr's at times could over detail you, and I'm not talking out of line, and I'm not being critical at all of Judge Marr because I love the guy.
That's why he's a judge.
That's right. That's why he's a judge, and I'm what am I? I don't even know what I am.
You're a fashion plate.
Yeah, there you go, fashion plate. You just like me for my looks, right?
Absolutely.
But he kind of delved into the psyche of Victoria, and he had about 7 or 8 really great points, and he was just laying it on the line with Dr. Shepard. And a lot of times people will pull stuff out of your mind that you've been thinking a long time, but you just don't have words to express.
Right. Not only you're like, yeah, what he said.
Yeah, because you just don't have that depth of feeling or the depth of scholarship that a lot of people have, and they just pull it out of you.
What was one of those points that Judge Marr brought up? Do you remember?
It's just a long-term, a bit of animosity with a lot of people in Victoria about VISD.
It's absolutely correct. It's absolutely true.
Yeah, and a lot of people have. I've only been here permanently since 2007. We bought our house, right? And Judge Marr was going on about what things that happened in 1970 and how they relate today, especially older people, the voters, what they think and the ramifications of that. And Dr. Shepard took all that in, but was able to answer back on what they're doing in the future and what progress they're making. So it was really a good exchange.
You know, Dr. Shepard's in a tough spot because these sins, you go back to 1970, you're dealing with the formation of Stroman High School and the separation of the two schools and all those things.
Well, you go back to the dismissal of Coach Wood or the getting him out of town, and he goes on to win a bunch of state championships and be one of the best high school coaches ever, right? There's still people in town that forget that, or
But you
won't forget that.
You go back to that, and then we joke all the time, and I know Clinton Shepard personally, off the public path, and I'll joke with him about being the smartest guy in the room, and he doesn't dispute it with you. He's like, he accepts it. Yeah, well, probably I might be. And Judge Marr certainly is going to be one of the smartest people in the room when he's in the room, and that is probably a very valuable exchange. And in the same breath that I say, none of this stuff happened on Quentin Shepard's watch. Quit holding him. He's like become the pinpoint. He's getting his ideals are getting shattered because of mistakes made by prior administrators and administrations. And in the same breath that I say, don't do that to him, I go, well, who else are you going to hold accountable?
They keep electing board members who have been there for part of the problems.
Do you agree, Bill, that VISD in total, board, super, what everybody seems to think is the top-heavy staff over there, their argument was, well, and I've heard this on both sides, well, there are studies that are shown with other school districts comparable to us, 14,000 students, 2 high schools, 16 blah, 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 that we actually don't have as much administration as a lot of. That doesn't mean you're not top-heavy. That just means all y'all are top-heavy. Too much money going into people that don't educate our kids. If you've got an assistant superintendent to be the assistant to the assistant over the assistant who takes care of maintenance, give that guy an extra wrench and an apprentice and get rid of 2 of these managers. Streamline this deal. Not necessarily the way I feel. Certainly not qualified to make that call. I've heard it numerous times in Victoria. I believe that in this city, with the makeup and the character of the people, no matter whether they're Republican or Democrat, until VISD comes forward en masse, school board, superintendent, principals, until they all come forward and say, we need forgiveness and absolution for our past sins. We have made a mess of this district. Here is our plan to go forward. Until that happens, I don't think they pass a bond in this district. I'm not even saying it's their fault. I'm saying they're being blamed for it.
As in old Rome, we can all stand in front of the forum and beat our chest and ask for forgiveness. Okay, once that's done, we have to have a plan ahead, right? We have to be able to go forward and see what's going on.
BJ Wilson. Hang on, you're here, Wilson. Can you make it so BJ can hear?
Yeah. Good morning, Wade and Carter Show. Hey, BJ.
We have our ways.
If anyone is interested in being on that task force or giving some input, call the district.
I appreciate that, BJ. Now, were you
Thanks,
at the
BJ.
meeting last night? You said you. And how did you feel? Was there tension in the room? I mean, that's just your gut feeling. Good. I mean, I think that's good communication, right? If there's a little tension in the room, people kind of get it out there and get it off their chest. Not an unfriendly environment.
But it's been the elephant in the room for probably
Absolutely.
7 or 8 years now.
Maybe longer.
So thanks, BJ. She's saying she gets a sense that, I don't know if you caught all of that, but that there is some willingness to be accountable.
And
taxpayers now.
they want to have more task force meetings and people get their feelings out there.
Yeah, I think that's very important to include the community, and don't make those task force meetings so top-heavy with VISD administrators. If you have 30 people in the room and 15 are the administrators and have a vested interest, that's not representing the community. The community should show up and represent themselves.
You know, there's another side to that where I heard Joe say on your program, we'll ask him about this as well. I think you can get to the point where you have so much community involvement that nothing ever gets done. Well, I think we should do this. Well, I think we should rebuild Strumman. Well, I think we should just remodel Strumman. Well, I think we should level Strumman. Well, I think, how much does that cost? Well, let's do a study on that. The next thing you know, you've cost benefit analysis, you've SWOT tested yourself, you've done all this garbage, and a whole new generation of kids has gone through, and nobody got anything.
There's a term for it: paralysis by analysis.
Right. It's like a Baptist church that runs out of green bean casserole. We can't decide on Bible school. We don't have enough casserole.
But the outcome of it, let me just wrap this up because I don't want, you got Joe on here. Let's wrap it up.
We get a whole hour, Bill.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. You're not a half hour.
Yeah, we
You're
got
not part-timers like
prime
that.
time, baby.
Yeah. But what happened is after Dr. Shepard gave us 4 minutes and then went for 45 or 50 minutes there, he really had some real hard hitting points of what they're doing. They're going after these grants to solve a lot of these problems in line. And I think everybody in the room after that happened felt a lot better what's happening at VISD, and we're making progress. You know, the thing as a school teacher, I'm going back to school, by the way, in August. As a school teacher, I really want the kids to do good. You know, that's the future. I probably, in my generation, we're done. We got one foot in the grave and another on a banana peel.
Wrong answer. Try again.
But, you know, the kids are really the future, and it's a cliche, but it's the truth. And we want somebody coming out of Victoria to be confident that they can read, write, present themselves, that they can think, the most important, because when you think, you're dangerous.
Right.
Very dangerous. And then act. That's the 5 objectives that I want to see kids here at VISD be able to do. And I think Mr. Shepard, Dr. Shepard, was on the right track there.
I really think he's a great,
Absolutely.
great guy and a great superintendent. I think that he's also one click from telling Victorians, hey, look, either you people get on board and support us financially, or your schools are going to get worse. I think he's one click from telling you that as well. Not speaking for him, but I think it's.
And some would say, how much worse can they get? Because our outcomes haven't been there. There has been some improvement. No, they have been. They are getting better. We heard that last time when he was on the show, that the outcomes are improving.
He told us they were.
Yeah. Well, he had the data to back it up too. But
he had Mr. Bowald with him.
Yeah.
It's like, tell him, Bowald, well, we've got a new car. He told him all the stuff that was going on. Yeah. It was good. Well, Mr. Posey, we always appreciate you, sir.
Okay,
very much. Thank you for being
Thank
here.
you guys.
And
we always try to support the A team to keep Victoria strong through communication, and nobody communicates better to Victoria than the Wade.
Really, because you hightail out of here every morning. You can't distance yourself enough from us.
Prostate.
I got to get down to my radio and listen to you guys live on
He's
the radio.
got to get to Ramsey's before Alan Miller gets over there. Okay, well, thank you, sir. Lee, thanks for hanging around. Lee's takes care of Bill. Make sure he gets in the car, okay? Bodyguard. Folks, gives us a chance to tell you about Alan's Wrecker Service. Alan Miller, you can probably find Alan later today at Ramsey's. 578-6300, that's Alan's Wrecker Service. They're absolutely your go-to tow-to, and they would be the first to remind you, please be safe today on the roads. Don't need Alan's Wrecker Service.
I almost witnessed one coming in. I was at the loop and somebody was turning left off the loop to go south on Main.
Right. I can see that.
Fishtailing away because they gassed it a little too hard around the corner and almost needed my Alan. So
Crazy.
Take it easy on the slick roads this morning, folks.
Tell you what, the VCS companies, Rocket Oilfield Services, the only locally owned and authorized AT&T retailer.
There's nobody better.
No, they are. They're just the kings of service. whether it's Big Jim, Miss Jennifer, Kelly Hartman, Hinkie, or
JR.
J.R. Hartman, they'll all help
And
you.
everybody else that works for them.
All of them, J.R. Perez, their whole group, Rusty, even T-Lat. T-Lat makes it happen.
Even
Even the T-Lat. T-Lat's the one that'll say, hey, you know what? Let's just get that done today. How about we get somebody out there right now? They are the standard, the gold standard of customer service in our community. And what I love about them, and their expectation is always to do it right the first time, but like out at your place, they came out and they installed a gate for Ash so you can get in and out of the 2-4 without having to get in and out of the truck. And everything was done, but the unit has a backup battery. And they've been sitting in a warehouse, and about week 2, they just quit, wouldn't work immediately. They knew what the problem was, came out, put in a new battery,
Fix it,
and
yep.
been great ever since.
absolutely.
Fantastic. Chesnick Furniture, 116 West Wanlin, the corner of Wanlin and Bridge.
Only on their 101st year of business.
70 years at their new location. Recommend you go there today. See Bobby Leon. Get half off on all furniture. Be awesome. Wouldn't it be great just to have watch the Astros in a new leather recliner from Best?
Absolutely.
Be great. Just you and Stanley and maybe 2 or 3 other dogs.
Maybe.
Be great. They make them now. Joe's still a little flat belly, just a kid. They make them now. They're like double wide. They're like a kind of mini love seat.
Yeah.
It's perfect for a guy like me.
Expanding
Just me.
girth.
Me and a
Your
bowl of
expanding
grapes.
waistline.
Me and a bowl of
Bowl of
grapes and maybe a
grapes.
small cooler. And then Veracruz, of course, I
Bowl
went
of grapes.
yesterday.
Is that code for ice cream?
No. Bluebell. Grape and scrape. Went yesterday to Veracruz, had the Wade and Carter Compuesta. I order it that way now. It's a beautiful chalupa shell, beans, ground meat, white cheese melted on top, and then lettuce, tomato, and a dollop of guacamole, and then they put serranos on it for me. It's just fantastic. It's like eating a salad and a chalupa all at once. And one is enough because I had 3 baskets of chips.
Well, there's the problem.
Yeah.
Best chips and salsa in
It's the
town.
best. Oh, it's the best. So we've done our first break. We're going to go back. Ash is our cinematographer. He's going to go back and we're very proud to have another candidate for District 3. You will recall District 3 is replacing Jeff Bognight, and a gentleman that we spent some time with, and I think is a fine young man, and I think the future of Victoria is in bright hands with folks like Joe Geisman, and actually know some of Joe's family and saw you the other night out.
Yeah.
And
Welcome to the show.
we appreciate you taking time to
Or
come.
welcome back to the show.
Welcome
Not your
back to
first
the
time
show.
here, because
Yeah,
you're also
welcome.
involved with the Young Republicans.
Yes, the president of the Young Republicans, which is, we're always looking for new members. So
I want to tell you something that I want you to take it the right way. How old are you now?
37.
Okay, so I want you to take it the right way. You're a more polished product than you were the first time you came in.
Yes.
The first time, Ash, is that the right way to say that? It's not that you're slick. You're just you, but you're more comfortable. You're just here to have a conversation now, as opposed to the first time you came in. I could tell you were a little bit
Nervous.
anxious about what you were, and it's okay to be nervous. And I'm still nervous sometimes in the morning about what we're going to say. When I'll say, "Hey, Ash, what are we talking about?" I got a bag of nothing. I got nothing.
Well, education is power. And the one thing I can take from running for city council, even if I don't win, is I'm coming out substantially more educated on how our local government is working. I don't know it all yet.
Isn't
I
it
know,
kind of
but I know a
terrifying?
lot more, and the more you find out, the more it's like, how have we gotten to this point? I don't want to say Victoria is a horrible city. We have amazing citizens. We have amazing thing, but how do we get to the point that we've gotten to in something? And that's what
Amen.
brought me to run for office. I listen to Dan Bongino a lot, and he's quoted Jordan Peterson on there multiple times, and I've always been super passionate in politics. Of course, everything federal. You're always looking at federal, national politics. What's going on? Well, I brought up a valid point. If you want to change things, you can make substantial change locally.
Right.
And you can't fix the country until you get your own house in order.
Amen.
So that's where
I've always felt that's where the most impact is made.
no doubt.
And people don't understand. I know I'm running for city council, but if I can express this to as many people as I can, school board is the most important
No doubt.
elected official we have, and people do not give it enough attention.
I agree 100%. You know, they say you think globally and act locally. And if enough people of like mind act locally, it affects things globally. I agree with you 100% that there's nothing more thankless than school board. And in the same breath,
City council's a close second.
well, it is, but you'll hear people it's only because that she's been there a long time. But that Tammy Keeling, she's been on the school board too long. Maybe so, but she served selflessly for a long period of time to try to she's certainly not trying to make our schools worse. And a lot of the stuff that the state has done through the years, through the TEA and all that, they have a hamstrung or
Well, there's
handcuffed.
part of the reason for the bureaucracy
That's right.
and the administrative level at all school districts that's gotten so expansive.
And I think it's a problem Victoria has, and that's across the city and the school board. One thing in common is maintaining. We have such a horrible, I guess, process of how we maintain what we have here in Victoria. We do not do a good job at it.
Yeah, the infrastructure is crumbling. There's no doubt about it. So is that something that you're looking to address
That's
on council?
when you first come in, if I want to say, okay, I'm gonna fix this, I'm gonna do this. Well, how are we gonna do it? We don't want to raise taxes for sure. I mean, I know our property tax rate has decreased since 2015, but our property values have skyrocketed. So whatever.
Yeah, it's a wash.
So, how do we do it? When some people don't understand, I know it's been said a lot, our property taxes don't even cover the full ticket for our police and fire and those services. So, what are we going to do without raising taxes when we're verging on a city that isn't offering its citizens a lot, but cost of living is edging up there in Houston and Austin and San Antonio, and, I believe to start getting at the bottom of it, how are we going to do it? And we have so much untapped potential with retail sales from outside communities that we just do not take care of. Well, why are we not doing that? Well, because Victoria does not incentivize businesses to grow and prosper. They penalize businesses from, I go into businesses and I ask them, what's your concern? And all of them have the same thing. They feel penalized for owning a business in Victoria across the board. And it's disheartening to hear that. What are we doing? We're charging people to put a banner to advertise their own business at their own business.
Right.
The
sign ordinance ought to be done away with.
Driving businesses out of town.
100% agree.
And even if they're
You
not,
met Buddy Kamen.
yeah. And some are leaving town, but they're going into the county.
Yeah.
And I've heard from a business owner years ago who relocated into the county because he tried to get into, at the time, the Lone Tree Business Park, and the city wouldn't work with him.
Oh. But and it's sad too because it's not across the board, because they will work with certain people. I've heard a story from a local business owner, and I'm not going to call out names or say businesses, but he was a half a pallet shy of his property being covered in grass, and the city came out to inspect him but not give him a permit. He had to do that, have them re-come back out, pay another inspection fee to have that done. When there was another big chain business, I believe it was a fast food place, I believe off the top of my head, in town that had no grass laid. They didn't have a problem with it.
Right. Because we've got to have that new XYZ box burger deal, no doubt. Well, I think what happens in a lot of that is that people aren't really empowered. And if you're not careful, you have the Barney Fife syndrome, where the guy with the clipboard decides that I'm going to change this town. You're going to do it the way I tell you to do it. My brain runs contra to that. I like to go over people's heads over garbage like that. It's just very frustrating that you're not anywhere near alone in articulating that there are problems. Right. We need to do away with the sign ordinance, for example. Promote your business any way you want. I don't care if there's people standing on the roof.
Oh, exactly.
What is that, a shooter?
We've got a call. Let's see.
Oh, Adam.
Adam, talk to us.
Good morning.
they're basically trying to keep the prices down and not allow it to be sales. It's just, I can't figure this crap out. Maybe y'all can fix it.
All right. Appreciate the call. Thanks, Adam. So Adam's saying that there's a home, I don't know if you were able to hear that there's a home appraiser running around and he's not valuing homes where the market value is, and it's affecting home sales. I don't know how you fix that, potentially on city council, or if that's an
Well,
issue for you.
They're
or-
licensed people. They got, I mean, there's regulations that govern what they do.
Yeah, you would think that there's somebody you can call to blow the whistle on somebody who's doing that. Sounds
Yeah.
like he's trying to control the market. And
Well, I'm taking that fault. He falls under the Central Appraisal District, and I mean, we all know that, right?
well, sounds to me like I'm thinking this is an independent appraiser who's hired when you're going to either buy or
Okay.
sell a home. That's the way I took it. I don't think it's a tax
And he's saying
appraiser.
that he's appraising them low.
Low.
Okay, to affect the market. I'm not. I mean,
I'm not sure council can do anything. What's weird about that is that the CAD, everybody agrees the CAD is a huge problem,
It's private, not CAD.
but yet nobody, like Judge Zeller is a de facto board member of the CAD, correct, Ash?
I'm not sure.
I think so, but they don't report to him. I mean, it's a central appraisal district, but the county judge is not their boss.
no, I mean, well, they have a board, and I know there's, and I've gone into, and it's a big explanation on how those board members are chosen. I know the city gets X amount of votes, the county gets X amount of votes, the school board gets X amount of votes. So
They all
right now we have
benefit.
Right now, we have a city council member, a county judge, not a county judge, I'm sorry, a county commissioner, 2 school board members, and Lou Sweatlick, which was an ex-school board member.
Sure.
Right, and then I believe the county tax collector, I think they have as well.
Okay.
Well, so that's what controls your CAD. I guess what oversees, that's the board that oversees. But I mean, how do you fix it? Because nothing's changing. It just seems like it's out of control.
Well, what's happened is in Victoria is the real estate values have flipped, and the residential real estate tax drives our revenue as opposed to commercial tax. Now I know that people in town that get, they get taxed at the end of the year on their inventory, and some of that stuff I think is just robbery.
Oh,
But at the same time, there are public buildings.
You've already paid
commercial-
tax on that inventory.
But there's commercial buildings in town that are grossly undervalued,
oh yeah.
that aren't governed right.
And I'm not a big, I mean, I don't think the answer of anything is to raise taxes. I mean, make everything, I guess, as fair as what a property tax could be, which a property tax is just so unfair to begin with. You never own anything, right? So I don't believe just going through and raising all the commercial values and doing all that is the correct thing to do, because I'm always, I say I'm fiscally conservative and I say I'm all about freedom, but I know our local businesses, when you start doing that to them, they already compete at higher prices just to maintain. I feel like it's just going to drive more and more Amazon.
Well, there's an old saying, right? Governments don't have a revenue problem; they have a spending problem.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I mean, they're going to try to get as much money in. I mean, just like we said earlier, the budget went up 17 million.
I have a question for you from Zach Smith. If elected, how would you like to see the city use the federal funds it's set to receive? And I
That
think
14.5
somewhere in there.
Around million. I don't. When I spoke to this previously, I believe to the advocate, and I'm not exactly sure on what, because I know there's specific things that money has to be allocated to. But if it can be allocated towards infrastructure stuff, we identify some things with drainage that need to be addressed. We've identified roads, but anything that can go towards, infrastructure and fixing the problems that Victoria is concerned about the most with is
Roads.
roads. And that's not just a cop out saying, oh, roads, but that's what, you're 90% of people aren't educated and aren't educated in what's happening in the city. So that's what they see. That's what they drive on every day. So, I think that.
How does the city do a better job of then educating folks to understand this? Because that seems to be,
That's a hard thing, because you go to these meetings. Like I went to the meeting for the sidewalks we're going to be putting around, Stroman and Dayton, and there was only, I think, 3 people from the actual area that showed up to that meeting. And I know that the city has a communications now, but I don't know how to get out to, going to talk to people more, I would like to see something, what if like once a quarter, we had a venue where all city council members and the mayor and the city manager sat on a stage. And they didn't just have people talk at them and go about their business. They answered questions. People got to talk and it was feedback, and there's not a lot of feedback coming back and forth. There's a lot of people calling and saying things, but I don't feel like they're getting anything in return from what they're saying. And I believe that's a big problem, and just for me going out and knocking on doors and talking to people and just listening to what people have to say. And I know it's human nature to be negative with everything, it seems like, but I haven't really gotten one positive thing on feedback from anybody with the city. So I believe more interaction, more talking back and forth, because I can sit here and tell you everything, and if you're just going to look at me and go about your business afterwards, what's the point? We want answers. We want solutions.
Where do you stand as a candidate on? There was an article, I think, in this morning's newspaper in the Advocate about a $17 million budget increase for the city. Have you had a chance to even look at that, or?
I've seen the budget. I've seen that there is the $17 million increase in the budget, and I know we have a lot of stuff with the roads coming up.
Right.
It just brings a whole. We can go on all these rabbit holes. Like, why do we fix the roads the way we fix them? I feel like we throw $100 at it 20 times versus $1,000 at it one time. I feel like we just fill potholes in it and go about our day.
Right.
And just keep doing it.
Well, they're talking now, Jesus Garza has done a really fine job. Charmel was just kind of a no, and do nothing person. And that's a little strong, but that, where I'm going with that. Compared to Jesus, who has kind of melded the CIP, and then he's saying, well, if we're going to fix Crestwood, while we're at it, let's yank out those 80-year-old pipes underneath so we don't have to do it twice, which makes perfect sense. When I was a kid growing up, you would drive down a road that they had just redone, and it was always cool to drive down a new street. And always within 2 or 3 years, there'd be a big ditch down the middle of that street where they were able to pull pipes out.
And the thing is, it's not a Victoria problem. Every city
everywhere.
Seems to fix the roads this way, and I don't know
but
why.
Now, amazingly
enough,
the two departments are communicating with each other, which is like, it seems like common sense, but they're doing it, and I think that's going to lead to some positive things.
And it's also too, it's two. I know y'all are. It's two separate funds. Your general funds go to the roads, and your enterprise funds go to the water and sewage and piping. And then you got to have the funds for both. But it's exactly true. Why band-aid a problem? Why do something like that when a pipe is going to burst and wash the road out underneath anyways? And we're going to be spending more money in the long run.
Just off the cuff, but do you have a take on this new zinc recycling plant? Does that affect you one way or the other?
Not so much yet. You got one side saying that it's horrible for the environment, and then you got another side saying that it's actually good for the environment because you're recycling. So, and I haven't done a lot of research into it.
Right.
I believe if it's going to be environmentally safe and it's going to bring some good paying jobs.
Seems like $2.5 million payroll, 60 full-time jobs. My thought on it is that
prevailing south wind.
Well, and that's what I wonder. And then I have to wonder. So the dumb stuff that I wonder, if they're doing a process and it's continuously monitored, and I have talked to Judge Zeller about this, and he's done extensive study on it and has said that, they've got perimeters where they're studying air quality all the time. The company does this all the time. So let's say that there was some kind of a breach and there was a problem. I want to know, how long does it take them to shut it down? And how much damage could that breach really do? I don't get the feeling like there's going to be a cloud come in and people are going to wholesale die. It's something if you were continuously.
But we can't have an issue where, like with the Chinese Communist Party and there's this nuclear plant that has been slowly leaking more radiation than it should. And I'm not saying this is radioactive stuff, but if you're secretly trying to cover something up, that's a problem. There's got to be transparency with it all. So I get what you're saying.
Right. And that's what I wonder. Are we not in the exact same situation with Formosa? Well, there's a lot of stuff out there. And if they were secretly covering it up, it could be bad, but we just accept them because Formosa and INEOS and DuPont, Alcoa, they built this town.
Yeah.
So,
should fix some roads for us, huh?
It'd be nice, wouldn't it? It'd be nice. Well, hey, we always do this.
I do have one final question that
No.
came in.
Can't do it.
If elected, how would you promote Victoria?
How would I promote Victoria? Victoria is, it's like this little jewel sitting here in the Golden Crescent. We're the largest city here. We have a lot of hard assets. We have rail, we have a port, we have an airport. So I think promoting Victoria as a retail spot to come and shop. I would love to see it promoted for a lot of retail to come in and good restaurants, because there's people that leave Victoria to go to smaller towns to go eat. They go to smaller towns to go do things, and they should be coming here. So I don't want to see Victoria. I don't want to promote Victoria into some new Austin or hipster town like that. But I think coming up with a lot more retail-based industry for people to come in and spend money and to ease the burden on us is how I would like to promote Victoria.
Yeah, I love the idea of taking other people's tax dollars
Yes.
and fixing our roads. I like you come in here from Bloomington, Edna, Cuero. You come here because we have something, an amenity you don't have.
You don't have to fight the traffic of a San Antonio, Corpus, Austin, Houston.
I mean, you got a median, but that's about it.
That's it. The median's doing good things, I think. Tell me this. So we always do. I was joking with Ash about a number of questions, but take a minute, whatever, until we just call this. That's it. And just tell us why you want to do this, and just anything you want your people to know. Just tell them.
It's kind of evolved on why I'm doing this while I've been running. I do, like I said previously, I do have a background in, as mud engineer and with Formosa. I have a very troubleshooting, coming up with solutions on the fly kind of background. I think that's something needed in the city is solutions. That's part of why I'm running. Another reason why I'm running is to actually represent people from my district. I'm not going to go in there and say I know what's best for all of them. And I know that if elected, I'm going to have to vote and make decisions, what I think is best. But I think that those decisions should be made with the utmost care and respect for the people in District 3 and for the whole of Victoria, because they're affected by it too. But I think going out and talking to people and doing what they want is something we need in there very badly. And allowing, I'm all about freedom. And it just pees me off to see that Victoria forces people to use only certain services. Victoria basically enables monopolies, or actually facilitates monopolies inside the city of Victoria, and that's the complete opposite of freedom. And that's what I'm about. And transparency. I'll let you know my stance on anything and answer any question anybody has.
Probably just got a donation from White Trash Services, don't you think? BJ, you listen? Hey, we appreciate you coming in. We appreciate your commitment to Victoria.
Thank you, Joe.
I think you're a fine young man, and come back and talk to us after the election.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for having me.
All right, and we appreciate you. That's awesome. So that's Joe Geisman. Don't forget, you can early vote today, right, Ash, at Patty Dodson Center, and then the big election is on July the 3rd. So we appreciate you coming in. Best of luck. Stay after them.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Victoria's in good hands.
It's the same election, it's just that's election day.
Right. Yeah. Then the big election. It's the big show. It's a really, really big show. He's a fine young man. Now you people don't like the way he shakes his hips, but he's a fine young man. And this is Elvis Presley. Remember that?
No, wasn't born yet.
So let me tell you how times have changed. My mom and dad, one night, my dad's mom allowed a bunch of Daddy at a high school in 55 and 56, right in there. Pete Montana, good morning, our friend.
Pete?
And they had Elvis on the Ed Sullivan Show. And my grandmother, it was on a Sunday evening, and after church, I think it was Sunday. I may have just made that up.
She faint when she
No,
saw him?
my grandmother allowed the teenagers to come over and watch it on her set and got called out at church about it. Yeah, Elvis. Oh.
Now Bieber's wife is wearing a midriff-bearing shirt, meeting with the French
Right.
president. His frumpy looking wife.
She looked better than Elvis. Tell you. Tell you what looks good. Atzenhofer and Atzenhofer.com. The Atzenhofer dealership, Chevy, Cadillac, Mazda, Mitsubishi, all the pre-owned, all the paint and body shop,
All your service needs.
all makes and models. They just all all Atzenhofer all the time. Since
Since
1926, get by and see him. Ed Atzenhofer had a vision. He wanted people to be able to buy an affordable car. You know, if you just sing like Bon Jovi, you don't even have to really enunciate the words. He wanted you to be able to buy a car. You know what I meant. Buy a vehicle. Ed Atzenhofer sold the first Chevy in Victoria.
Your Aunt Betty says your grandmother got reprimanded.
In 19, see, look, my Aunt Betty, thank you, Aunt Betty. True story, right? They called her out.
Crazy.
Harper Valley PTA, baby, right there in Corpus Christi, Texas. Now you got Janet Jackson with the nip slip on the Super Bowl. Come on.
That's so yesterday.
Right? What was that, the 90s?
I think so.
Hate to see that today. She's 74. White Trash Services, 550-1826. Get the up,
Roll up her pant legs.
up camera. Get that fruit roll up. Anyway, 550-1826. You want freedom? You want to be able to bring in your own product? You want to roll off dumpster for your next big project? You need weekly trash service in the 7 counties, including Victoria, Lavernia, Smiley, Nixon,
Rockport,
Las Vegas.
Fulton Beach.
550-1826. Reach out to White Trash Services. Razor IT Solutions, JP Hall, way too busy, clandestine, undercover, working on Fortune 200 companies, dealing with data encryption, data protection, websites, Facebook pages, collecting money, swag sales for Wade and Carter. He can do it all.
And the law offices of Stephen Kidder.
Absolutely. Steve's just a great guy. Steve is kind of a jack of all trades. Can really, really help you stay out of
He's
the
a
courthouse.
well-rounded attorney.
Yeah, can keep you out of the courthouse. That's the key thing. Having a lawyer is not always about suing somebody or even being sued. Having a lawyer might be a lot more about not getting sued.
Yeah.
Not going to court. Solving your problems responsibly.
Seeing them before they might happen. And
Yeah.
that's where Stephen can help you.
Steve is your guy.
And Complete 360 in the Health Bar. Health Bar opens at 7 o'clock just over here on Red River. Get over by for healthy eating alternatives.
They got a waffle. They have it is a beautiful waffle with strawberries or blueberries or pineapple or all of it. Got a little whipped topping and this syrup. It's phenomenal. It's a gluten-free, protein-based flour. It's an oat flour too, and it's a big dense.
Well, that's because almond flour is so expensive.
Fantastic. Get by there.
Almost as expensive as a sheet of plywood.
Well, yeah. Trade diamonds for plywood.
Pete McNally, what is it? Terry Poole says it's your favorite Kent, right? That's his
Yeah,
favorite
that's
Kent.
my favorite cat.
What did Pete McNally? Pete McNally said something here that his nana said Elvis was lewd, but she sure watched every minute on the Ed Sullivan Show. Well, she had to make sure that it was lewd.
Right.
That's your nana's defense.
You know, I don't know how to define pornography, but I know it when I see it. Terry Poole says that's his favorite cat. Thank you, sir.
He says Jordan Alvarez's power is special.
Tell you what, wasn't that TP? We had so much feedback about our visit with you last week, and there were people that said, I'm not a baseball guy, but it's just really interesting to listen to y'all talk to Terry Poole. And I said, well, that's because he's Canadian. It's just they're smarter than us. But it was great to have you on, sir. And just the stories that you tell, and they're endless. We never get the same story twice. Because he played 162 games a year for 14 seasons. I mean, he's got stories to tell you. Did you see where Major League Baseball now is going to start investigating? Folks, this is the biggest joke since the steroid debacle. This is the single most hypocritical. We're going to lie to you straight to your face, and you're going to believe it. Major League Baseball absolutely knows who puts a little Kramer Jezik on the laces to get a little more spin rate. And
Garrett Cole.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the fact of the matter is, they're now saying, that's it. It's been brought to our attention, and we're going to get tough on it. Do you remember?
You know why? Because home runs are down. That's why.
That's it. Do you remember? Tell you what, if this greasing of the baseball leads to a
How-
sack bunt, I can't wait to see it.
How is this not more? If you're gonna go to the extremes they did with the Astros accused of sign stealing,
Which they did.
and some other teams did, and some other teams that are more storied in the
Dodgers and Yankees,
in Major League Baseball lore
Red Sox.
were completely not even investigated, let alone exonerated. They just completely dropped it, despite the fact that there were probably as many credible witnesses accusing the Yankees and the Dodgers of doing the exact same thing the Astros were found guilty of and punished for.
Right.
But every team was been impacted by this.
Well, what they did with the Astros, is that baseball found the scapegoat. They found, well, we can drop the hammer on the Astros. Notice they didn't take away their championship.
No.
Because everybody knew that everybody was doing it. But at the end of the day, we'll humiliate the Astros. They're kind of the Johnny-come-lately to this elite team set. If I tell you which team doesn't matter, the Yankees, the Red Sox, or the Astros. Well, it's the Astros that don't matter, unfortunately. No matter how good they are, they're just the Astros. It's kind of like even now, it's like, well, they're still just Atlanta. True story. They're not the St. Louis Cardinals. They're not even the Chicago Cubs, even though they were better than the Cubs for the last 30 years.
Well, it moved 3 times, right?
But
Boston,
the reality
Milwaukee
is,
to Atlanta. That's
the reality is, it's exactly like, and Terry Poole can remember this like it was yesterday, the season that Sosa and McGuire saved baseball. They were both chasing 60 home runs, and McGuire had he had cystic acne on his neck because he was taking stuff they used to give to Secretariat. And the guy was so yoked up, and Jose Canseco had an uncontrollable twitch from the Diana ball he was taking. And these guys were just pounding baseballs out of the park. And Major League Baseball completely turned a blind eye, and the media just adored them. The boys of summer.
It wasn't illegal.
One's black, one's white.
The sport didn't outlaw it, even though
Right.
The federal government had.
So then, a year, maybe 2 max. Steroids, killing the great game, steroids, ruining baseball. Once baseball kind of got stabilized again, the hypocritical media turned their backs on these guys and buried them. McGuire's still not in the Hall of Fame. Neither is Sosa, I don't think.
Still got to hit the damn ball.
Yeah, they're not in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds, he ruined the game. Now, I agree. He went from a size 7 hat to a 9 3/4, but
Custom make hats for
had to
him.
custom made. He's like a built-in bobblehead. But he hit 700 and pick a number, 65 homers. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And just was with a 28-inch bat. What was that? Like a 28. I mean, I love baseball. I love it that Billy Hatcher was swinging. Was it Billy Hatcher? Yeah, it was. Swinging a bat with cork in it. We called him Corky. When I was a kid, Corky Hatcher. I love it, man. They were trying to find a way to get an advantage. I mean, it's no different than a
Sammy
skater
Sosa was
sharpening
caught.
his skates,
Sammy Sosa was caught corking a bat.
It's great stuff. It's great, the nuances of baseball.
I mean, the things that the baseball's done. Eddie Stanky used to start behind the base and time it so that he would have a running start. So when the outfielder caught it, he would touch the base and tag up. They outlawed that. They thought it was cheating.
It's great. It is an amazing thing, and I know some of y'all aren't baseball aficionados.
Montana says if you ain't cheating, you ain't
Boy,
trying.
that's true.
And there's probably
Terry
not
Poole's
another
giggling right now too.
probably not another sport, like it. And that's baseball.
Now, if I'm at a UHV game and I see Terry Poole walk out there when it's 88 degrees, he's got long sleeves on and something's dripping off his right hand, I'm gonna have
And he
to ask
asked
a
for the
question.
baseball.
Yeah, give me the ball, kid. He's like, take the ball. No, really, take the ball from my hand. I can't let go of it. It's stuck. That's an issue. But when you watch the great game of baseball, it is an amazing thing. Amazing to me that there's no great 90 feet still works between the bases. Players have gotten bigger, faster, and stronger. There's still 60 feet, 6 inches, and the catcher popping up to throw a runner out. It's still a 50-50 proposition. Everything has to go just right for that catcher to get that runner out. And it's always been that way. It's awesome.
Terry Poole says Bond's the greatest left fielder of all time. Billy Hatcher Locker next to him. He's innocent.
See, there you have it. And Terry Poole wouldn't lie to us. He's been out of the game longer than he played. There you have it. See, Billy Hatcher didn't do that.
Astros won yesterday 10-2 over the Orioles. They had a no-hitter, I think combined no-hitter going into the seventh hockey half minute. Islanders absolutely trounced last night. 8-0 was the final score. This one was over early. Tampa Bay just looked like
Gradu.
They could repeat as Stanley Cup champs.
In other news, Terry Poole's dad had a drill press with a 28-inch, 3/4-inch bit.
Quarter-inch wide.
Worked at a cork factory in Calgary, Alberta.
No, Melville, Saskatchewan.
There you go, Saskatchewan. There you go, folks.
Yeah, Melville at the time, known as the cork capital of Canada.
Melville. Some guy named Mel lived there. Real quick, let us tell you, it's not last, it's last, but certainly not least. Let me tell you right quick. 541-5454. Reach out to Terry Murray today. I'm telling you, today is the best day for a free quote on how much money Terry Murray can save you, or how much money the market can save you right now on a mortgage refi. I saw a deal the
Or
other
a
day.
brand new mortgge. You're buying a new house, she can help you get
The
into a brand new
rate
house.
was 1.8% on a 15-year note. So if you've got a 30-year note at 4.5%, and you may have the exact same payment.
But you're out of your house in 15 years.
Right. Unbelievable.
Crazy.
Wind Services, Wind Electrical, Wind Generators.
We're not making any promises. We're just spitballing here.
Past performance does not necessarily go Tigers, go Tigers. Reach out to Wind Services for all your electrical, plumbing, emergency needs. You need a new plug. It could be that simple. You're in a garage. Why is there a plug here? You're in a kitchen. You got an island. You got no place to plug in the crock pot or the warming pan.
That's bad planning.
Wind can help you.
Wind can help you do that.
It's
And they
not
have.
expensive.
No.
They're fantastic, and they're great folks, and they're great friends of mine. Reach
And
out.
they'll come out. They'll do it. I had them do a job for me, and they had to do some boring to get the power to my shop. When they were done, didn't even know that they had dug the ground up.
And they couldn't prove they did the work, so Ash didn't pay them. There you go. USA Concrete Coatings, 578 HOME, HOME, home.
They'll transform any drab slab
Oh, turn
into something phenomenal.
pool deck, patio, porch, sidewalk.
Portico, sidewalk,
driveway.
anything.
Yep, your mother-in-law, just go right over her, no
Go-
problem.
May she rest in peace.
She doesn't even stick to my tires. The Gray Barn, call Cheryl for your next big party or little party. I mean, sometimes less is more, right? You want to have a couple of dozen people over and have something really nice. Let her
Want it
make
to
it
look
an
good.
elegant, beautiful evening. You don't want to go buy all those votives. She's got them.
And you don't want fake flowers.
920-6803. Ash may drop the flowers. If he does,
Nope,
you get a
not
discount.
allowed to carry them anymore.
920-68. Not only did he drop them, but he ate it when he dropped them. He had like an open wound at the event.
That just popped up in my memories about a week or so ago. Yeah,
Nice.
big black eye from that.
Cheryl was like just going, "What a clown!
You're fired.
Why do I have this guy?"
She went on Donald Trump on me. You're fired.
She'd fire you, but then she, like Ida says about Lee at Veracruz, I'd fire him, but I'd still have to support him.
Still have to pay him.
920-6803. Reach out to Cheryl at the Gray Barn.
We'll talk about this tomorrow. We didn't get to it today, but speaking of you're fired, April saw more retail workers quit their jobs than any other month in the 20 years that the government has been tracking that. So pandemic fatigue, part of it, but we'll talk a little bit about that because it's going to be problematic.
Don't quit your job.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Folks, we love you
Pass me a
guys.
piece of paper.
I didn't get a chance to say it yet this morning, but good morning, Judge Posey. I know you're there, sir. I mean, it means the world to
Yeah,
us.
he was there. I said good morning to him earlier.
I hope y'all have a
Appreciate
great day.
everybody tuning in and appreciate our guest today, Bill Posey, Joe Geisman. And I think we've got Emmett Alvarez going to come in on Thursday.
Yes.
And I got to reach out to David Crook to get him in on Friday and working on another guest for tomorrow. So
Be sure to tune in Thursday. Emmett will be a good show. Tune in and listen to Emmett Alvarez.
we'll get our two last mayoral candidates in, and then every candidate that's running for office will be have been on the
Accounted
show.
for. Yep.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
Thanks, folks.
Ralph, the Hall of Famer, will be next. Ralph Salazar and Brother Gary Moses will be in here when the VEDC meeting is over. Have a great day, folks. We love you.
See you, Manana. Bye, folks.
The Hall of Famer.
And the Wade and Carter Show bears all responsibilities for their opinions and guests on their show. We appreciate your attendance. Please drive safely.
It's a good show today.
Joe Baldwin, may I have an appearance on June 29th in the Ray Burner Show? Show the special.
Morning, Ralph. How are you? You're really tired. You all right, bud? That's what I've been saying for the last week. You been staying busy, the games and stuff. They're at home still now, boy. You get used to working with him, and he was putting in his life. There's no time, there's no force to be here on the front, taking over the deal. I'm not slaughtering the harness race, but you don't have to fill the field and third lane, right? Still have it. I like my thing now. Hey, go get the beer. Yeah. I hate napping because I don't sleep at night. Beautiful dog. Well, Maggie, last night about 1:30. I mean, I heard this thunder and the back patio is I'm not worried about it. The dog is very well Maggie is. So I go out there and water in Ash. So she has no problem better about it. She's wound up to see me. She's not saying, and then she was talking to me. Like, what is so long? It was wet. She's like, it's scary out there. And she's like, I have one of those morning, I have a pit bull, big mean pit bull. Soon as I open the door, there's a flash of lightning and a crack of thunder. Boom, and back inside. She was like, wow. See you, Ralph. You too. Bye, brother. You literally make it kind of that noise.